Hey guys, I am here with my first card in my Valentine's card series. I am participating in 2 card drives this year, both benefiting sick children in hospitals. One is being hosted by Mel B here on YouTube, and the other is being hosted by Winter, whose blog is Winter Wonderland Crafter. So for this first card, I used the Stampin' Up! Oh Well stamp set. I used the Simon Says stamp stitched circle dies. I used this Stampin' Up! Stamp set, Handmade with Love, and I used this stamp from the Stampin' Up! Nice Mice stamp set. So if you want to see how I made the card, just keep watching. So what I have here is 2 pieces of white cardstock that I cut out with the Simon Says Stamp Stitch Circle die, the second largest. 2 pieces of pink cardstock cut at 3 by 4 inches, and 2 pieces of pattern paper that is cut just 1/4 of an inch smaller than the pink card bases. So I'm going to be using the Stampin' Up! Stamp set Oh Well. And this is an old stamp set. It is retired. You can no longer get it. But I believe Lawn Fawn has a really cute mini well stamp that would work just as well for this type of card. So the first thing I'm doing is I am stamping 2 images in Versamark ink, and I am going to be using the Stampin' Up! Embossing Powder Pool Party. And this is a super easy card. It is fast and it is easy to mass produce. There is no coloring, just some stamping, embossing, die cutting, and gluing. So that's that really pretty color. I love that color. So I embossed that off camera, and I also have this little die thingy that cuts out the well, so that's how that works. So I did that off camera as well. So next I'm going to take just a piece of plastic and those 2 circle pieces in some Salty Ocean Distress ink, and I'm just going to ink up those white circle pieces of cardstock here. And I much prefer my little Acres Creations wooden blending tool to the Tim Holtz one. But I did some reorganizing of some of my craft stuff, and now I can't find anything. But this one just so happened to be laying out in the open, so I just grabbed it instead of tearing everything apart looking for my other one. But I'm sure it'll turn up probably when I go to do some more reorganizing. So anyway, and I wanted the color just a little bit darker on the bottom than on the top. So what I'm going to do now is I have this washi tape that has some blue anchors on it that I felt went really well with the pattern paper, and I'm just going to put a strip of that on the pattern paper, on each piece of pattern paper. And I'm just kind of eyeballing where I want it to go. I haven't measured anything or marked anything off or anything like that. But I'm always proud of myself when I use washi tapes in my projects. I love washi tape. I buy it all the time, but then I find I have a hard time finding ways to use it. So I always kind of give myself a little mental pat on the back when I'm able to use it. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue these panels down. And I'm using my ATG gun to do that. So I was able to make 3 of these cards, and it probably took less than 20 minutes to make all 3. The first one took the longest because I was just kind of trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do in the layout of the card. But once I got that figured out, it went by really quick. And these other 2 went by really quick as well. And I was able to get 3 cards out of 1 piece of cardstock. So now I'm going to end up popping that well down at the bottom. But before I do that, I want to put some little hearts to make it look like it's coming out of his little blowhole, I guess. I'm not sure what the official name of that is. So I'm just using some Versamark ink again and stamping the little hearts that also come in the Stampin' Up! Oh Well stamp set. And I am going to be using some Stampin' Up! Melon Mambo embossing powder to emboss those hearts. And the first card I made, I had a little craft catastrophe during this part. I ended up dumping and spilling nearly the entire little tube of embossing powder. So I was able to save most of it though, so crisis averted, but I had a little mini freak out because I have nearly a whole tube of this embossing powder left, and I don't think you can get it anymore. I'm pretty sure it's retired. So I go ahead and glue the circles down with some Tombow multi-liquid glue. And then I am also going to take a sentiment from the same Stampin' Up! Set, and this sentiment says, "Well, you be mine." So I thought that was a little punny. And I will be embossing this in Stampin' Up! White embossing powder. I really need to get some detailed white embossing powder for sentiments, but it's just one of those things I haven't gotten around to getting yet. So I just make do with what I have, but I know it would show up probably a lot better if I did have the detailed embossing powder. And I didn't realize I was off camera, but I was just kind of brushing off the excess embossing powder on those cards. Excuse me. And here I had stamped the sentiment really crooked, like very crooked. I should have got my Misty out, but I was in a hurry. So I just wiped it off. I wiped the embossing powder and the Versamark ink off, and I'm just going to stamp that sentiment again on the other side of the card. So that is what that looks like. And I went ahead and finished one of the cards that I was working on before I realized I had forgotten to turn my camera back on. So you're just going to see me finishing up the last one. But I am taking that well and I am putting some foam adhesive on him so that he'll just kind of pop up there, and I'm positioning to make it look like it's hearts kind of coming out of his little blowhole. And then on the inside, I'm taking the same stamps and I'm taking the Stampin' Up! Cameo Coral, I believe, ink, and I am going to stamp the well, and then I'm going to also stamp the hearts above him. And then lastly, I am going to take the Happy Valentine's Day from the Stampin' Up! Nice Mice stamp set, and I'm going to stamp it up with VersaFine black onyx ink and stamp that right over the well. So you can still see him, but there's still room to write. And then the very last thing, kind of as an afterthought, is I had this little stamp that says stamped from the heart, and I just inked it up with the same stamp, Cameo Coral ink, and stamped that on the back. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.